today I'm going to be sharing with you my top 5 eye brushes. These are not brand specific. Many brands have produced these same brushes. These are just the type of eye brushes that I cannot live without. To choose 5 is very hard because there are many that I love. So I've whittled it down to the type of brush. So let's start with the concealer brush. This is typically your concealer brush. Again, we're not talking about a specific brand, we're just talking about this type of brush for concealing. I like this one for laying down cream-based products as well as concealer. You do get different variety of bristles within this type of brush, but specifically this one, you can see it's really dense. It's made of synthetic material, so it's good for powders as well as creams. And the difference between this and a brush like this one, for instance, is just really down to the material of the actual bristles. This one is slightly softer, but it is slightly bigger. So you can use them for different reasons. This one would be quicker at going over the lid, whereas this one's slightly smaller, so you can be a bit more precise with it if you were doing, say, a cut crease. Next, we have a flat shader brush. Now, you know I use these religiously. They are my favorite for laying down eyeshadow on the mobile lid, which is the space between your eyelashes and where your lid naturally creases. Once again, you can see the bristles are tightly packed, and what makes this different from a concealer brush is the fibres that are used. You can see it's like a squoval shape, and then as you can see it's kind of more pointed, so you can use this along the lash line as well as laying down products, and this also comes in a variety of sizes. I find the larger sizes are great for applying a quick wash of colour, whereas the smaller one is great for more detailed work. As you can see, when I turn this on its side, the actual top doesn't come to a nice thin point, so you wouldn't necessarily want to use this one along the lash line. It definitely works better for laying down a wash of colour on a larger space. And again, if you get this in synthetic bristles, you can use it for both cream and powder. Next up, we have the Duo Fibre brush. I love these in any form, whether it's the larger ones for your foundation or the smaller ones for your eyes. What makes this great is that the bristles are slightly tapered towards the top and they're less dense at the top. That's what makes them a Duo Fibre, because there are 2 types of bristles within the brush head. What's great about this is it means it picks up less product, so you don't apply too much, and this nestles into the socket of your eye really well, so the white bristles will apply a little bit of the colour, and the black bristles that are slightly shorter and fanned out do a lot of the blending. Next up, we have the small detailer brush. Now, not a huge amount of brands do this specific brush, but I absolutely love them. You do get them in slightly different materials. The black one is not so much my favourite, as you can see from the side. It's quite thick, the bristles tend to splay out, whereas the brown one, the bristles all stay together, they're quite dense, and they are great for applying highlights on the inner corner of the eyes. They're also great for smudging out the lash line. You can see they also come in slightly bigger sizes, but the bigger ones are not the ones I tend to reach for. I like the smaller ones. Next up, we have more fluffy blending brushes. You can get these in a tapered form, which you can see on the left, or you can get them in a slightly more rounded and dome shape on the right. If you were doing a lot of crease work, then the pointed tapered brush would be more up your street. The difference between this and a Duo Fibre brush is that you wouldn't necessarily pick up colour with this brush, you would just do the blending, whereas a Duo Fibre brush you can pick up colour and apply it because it picks up less, so you can go in and blend at the same time, whereas this one I would tend to blend out the colour that I've already applied. That's just my preference. This one I absolutely love because again it's synthetic, you can use it with creams and liquids, so it's great at blending out eyeshadow. It's also great for blending out concealer. Another brush for blending out concealer is also the Duo Fibre brush. I love a multitasking brush, and this one is fantastic. The difference between the domed fluffy blending brush and the actual concealer brush is the concealer one is great for laying it down, and the fluffy blending brush is great for buffing it into the skin so it becomes seamless. Next up, we're talking about eyeliner brushes. There are a variety of different sizes. I often get mine from the art store. Not only are these fantastic at creating that really tiny sharp wing, these are great for filling in your brows if you're using a liquid. If you are doing pinpoint concealing, they are very precise. And I'm going to show you the difference between a typical eyeliner brush and an art store brush. You can see that the point of the bristles is still quite thick on a generic eyeliner brush towards the tip, which makes this a little bit difficult in achieving a very sharp wing. Whereas these two, which are both art store brushes, the length of the bristles are much longer, which enables you to have a lot more flexibility when it comes to creating a wing because it follows the shape of the eye. The movement of the bristles is much more fluid, and the tip of them is super fine. If we compare this to a generic eyeliner brush, you can see here the generic eyeliner brush on the right hand side is short and stubby, so this is not going to be your best friend when it comes to creating a winged liner. This is one of my new favourites. This one is actually an Anastasia Beverly Hills one. They are available in different brands, but this is the specific one that I use. You can see it's super sharp and pointed at the very tip, and it's synthetic, so it's really good when you're working with pencils. So if you're creating a winged liner with a pencil, this is perfect for pulling that liner out and creating a really sharp, precise wing. Or if you're applying concealer underneath a brow and you want it to be really precise, it's a really great one. I will list and link all of the brushes that I use and the brands in the description bar to give you an idea, but these are my favourites. You got the detailer brush, the flat shader brush, a duo fibre blending brush, the variety of eyeliner brushes, and the different concealer brushes. Again, I could list a ton more, but these are my top 5. I could go to a makeup job with just these and I could get on perfectly well. I would love to know what your favourite makeup brushes that you cannot live without in the description bar. I will also do this for face brushes, like my top 5 face brushes, and I'll also do it for makeup tools as well. If you found the tutorial helpful, please give it a thumbs up, and don't forget to come follow me outside of YouTube over on Instagram. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you again soon. Bye guys!